Initially didn't really want to talk about it too tough, especially on YouTube, but I think it's really important to flag up these conversations and these things. Oh, English. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well this wonderful weekend, and I hope you've been enjoying the weather. I know it's a little bit rainy at the moment, but I hope you guys had a moment to really settle into the sun and all that good stuff when we were having that insufferable 30°C weather. Today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit controversial and kind of on the minds of the masses at the moment, and with good cause, and that is A-level results. That is the UK education system. That is how we can move forward and mobilize for our communities. So if you are not aware what has happened, essentially due to the coronavirus impacting education system throughout the UK, we've had a situation where people have not been able to sit their exam for their A-levels or their GCSEs. So the government essentially had to figure out a way in order to assign people their grades so that, business as usual, people can go to university, people can progress to, college and whatnot. They have created an algorithm to assign grades. So your grades this year, if you are sitting your A-levels or GCSEs, will be based upon the historic previous record of your school, as well as a number of other factors, but that being one of the main ones. So whilst, it's all good and well, going to a school that, may have been predicted really good grades or has historically done really well. So if you go to a private school, for example, you tend to be, you're on the money, you're safe, you'll probably get the grades that you were predicted based on, your previous performance, as well as your postcode and all that other data. If you do go to a typically lower achieving school, in that the average or the baseline is actually quite low, that means that irrespective of whether your teacher may have predicted you A stars across the board, you might find yourself in a peculiar position where you are being predicted ABB, ACC, something crazy like that, based on the past performance of your school. And this was an algorithm that has been fronted by Ofqual, which is the examining, governance of the United Kingdom. And as a result, we've seen about 40% of teacher predictions go down. And there's also evidence to suggest that students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds have been disproportionately affected. They have lower progression to higher education institutions, and on average tend to have lower progression. So why is this a problem? I've been monitoring the situation on Twitter. I've been watching the news. I've been reading up and researching on, the algorithm. I've been looking at, some of the thoughts of and the thinking behind, the way that the government has gone about this. And there's just so many glaring problems. Guys, where do we even begin with this? I guess I will talk from a kind of systemic / objective perspective first, purely because I know that there are some people who will, try and comment that personal experience is not, as important, but we'll get to that one. We'll get to that real quick. So in terms of systemically, I just don't think that it's the best way to handle. First of all, I think that we could have done exams socially distanced, right? I think that this is the manifestation of a number of rolling blunders that the UK government has done, starting from the fact that we introduced lockdown far too late. I mean, lockdown should have really been, we're looking at January, February, lockdown measures should have been introduced far earlier so that we could have gotten a faster hold of the coronavirus and potentially started lifting lockdown measures a lot earlier, which would have allowed for socially distanced exams, right? So I think already off the bat, we're already dealing with issues, as a result of neglect in other areas of policy implementation, right? Also need to talk about the fact that, this whole idea of this allocation system and giving, grades based on postcode or data from previous years really doesn't give or reflect, doesn't give people the opportunity to really demonstrate what they're capable of, right? And it really doesn't reflect the situation that, maybe you've got a better cohort that, may have the opportunity to do better or even do worse. And again, it tends to, of course, bias people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, because it means that, you know, even during this whole coronavirus situation, resources towards state school funding has, state school in general has been so incredibly poor. And I've literally witnessed, like, my two sisters go to state schools, literally witnessed, you know, the cobbling together of pennies to support these students, the real galvanizing of these communities to help these students in particular. And it just feels like at the moment, all of these systems are in place to just disadvantage kids that may be going to schools that are less better off than private schools, you know? And it's really frustrating. But on a personal level, I find it really, really frustrating, because thinking back to somebody like myself, even, I don't think I would have been able to go to any university had I been predicted grades based on my postcode or, you know, my census progression at the time. Like, when I was studying, right, like, my predictions were all A stars, but my postcode has, like, where I live is notorious for having lower progression to higher education institutions. And as a result, my centre hadn't been a place where, you know, people went to Oxford or Cambridge. In fact, I was literally the first person to go to Oxford from my sixth form at the time. And just thinking about how that could impact somebody now who not even just wants to go to Oxbridge, right? Because we're not even just thinking about people that are, you know, this is not an Oxbridge exclusive problem. We're talking about people that are just generally missing their university offers, particularly those from these working class backgrounds, because of an algorithm not allowing them to demonstrate the fullness of their potential. It's crazy. Like, if I'm being on crud and being super honest with you guys, if I had been predicted all A stars, mind you, I had never seen like super poor grades in my life. If you had given me BCC and I had my like Oxford offer declined, God knows I will sit outside Oxford. Come October 5th, I will sit outside Oxford, because there's no way that I'm not going to university based on an exam that I didn't sit. Do you understand? Like, I think that it's genuinely crazy. And I think more of us need to be angry about it. I've seen so many comments around, you know, oh, when I was young, I got XYZ and, you know, I didn't end up going to university and I turned out fine. And it's like, that's cool. You sat those exams and that was your problem. Okay? Like, you sat those exams and you failed. Some people are failing from exams they didn't sit, right? Do you know how heartbreaking that is? That's crazy. So I think we need to have a lot more empathy for this generation, considering we're heading into one of the biggest recessions that we've ever seen in this country. And this government has really facilitated the conditions such that kids from these backgrounds who are exceptionally bright are not given an opportunity to actually prove themselves. Crazy. As you know, there's definitely a lot of frustration around it. And I just really urge you guys to really get behind this. We really need to start putting pressure on, you know, the government. We need to start signing petitions. We need to start, you know, getting funding as well, because another issue is the fact that they've like ridiculously increased the amount of money that you need to pay to appeal your grade. So when I was studying, right, it was around the £30 mark, but now it's around the 100 and something mark. And I'm just like, there's no free transportation now for kids between the ages of 16 to 18. Remarks and like resits and appeal, all the funding for that, or rather all the pricing for that, has skyrocketed to the hundreds of pounds. Like, it's a lose-lose situation, and it's really frustrating. And I think we need to be a lot more like we just I don't know. This is a rant video. This is a, like, I feel you video. Like, this is a, I don't know, man. Like, as somebody that's really actively engaged in, you know, education, politics, policy, and as somebody that is interested in personal growth and education, it literally infuriates me that kids, not even kids, right? These are budding adults. This is the next generation, have been ultimately shot in the foot by government and algorithms. Like, it's crazy to me. It's really, really crazy to me, and I feel for all of you guys. I'm gonna leave some resources in my description below when this goes out for like petitions, people you can contact, next steps. But guys, let's keep our foot on the gas pedal. Let's start like mobilizing around this. Let's start working. Like, the education system in the UK needs an overhaul, and it's literally at breaking point, particularly for state schools. We need to stop creating systems which unfairly disadvantage poorer people or people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, because there are bright people that need to be given the opportunity to succeed too. And it just grinds my gears that they don't have that opportunity. So rant over. I really don't even know how long that was. Maybe it was quick. But yeah, wishing you guys lots and lots of love. All my love to all my A-level students, my GCSE students. Like, I have so much love for you guys. We're going to get through this. We're going to be applying pressure. We're going to work through it. So yeah.